Welcome back here to the GSMC Baseball Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network, bringing you our second segment. But before we do that, I'd like to ask you again to please like and follow the show. We do get a number of questions from viewers, so to ensure that your question does get run in the air, please use the link, gsmcpodcast.net. It really does help the show, and it really does mean a lot, so thank you so much for that. And let's get back into the show for today. All right, so we'll be talking about our second segment here, which is going to be about the Martian, Jasson Dominguez, and his return. So, of course, last year, after coming up for the Yankees, one of the biggest prospect call-ups in my lifetime, I'd say, Jasson Dominguez did very well for them, but unfortunately did have to get Tommy John surgery and was out for the remainder of that year, and was going to be out for the first half of this year, like he was. Now, of course, being a center fielder, Tommy John is not something as serious as a pitcher where it could potentially end your career, but it still is significant enough, being it's a major arm surgery that you do have to give a little time off and, have to be out for a significant amount of time. Thankfully for him, it happened near the offseason, and the Yankees weren't going to make the playoffs, so it wasn't really that big of a deal for last year. But, of course, it is affecting them now for this year, and it affect their offseason plans. I'm sure them acquiring Alex Verdugo wouldn't have happened if they thought Dominguez would be ready for the season. So, yeah, very interesting with that whole situation, but Dominguez is back. The Yankees did just activate him off the IL and option him to AAA. So I want to talk about him, his return for the Yankees, and also just where is he going to play? Because that's something I really am interested in talking about, and just kind of the Yankees outfield conundrum in a way. So looking at Dominguez last year, of course, came up with some of the highest expectations we've ever seen of a prospect. I've been watching baseball for 18 plus years now, and the biggest prospect call-ups I firmly remember watching, like when I was a real baseball fan, are Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Paul Skeens now, and Jasson Dominguez. Those are really I'm sure I'm missing one or two people, but those are also Bryce Harper. Oh, yeah, I'll add him. So those are really the four prospects I remember that when they were called up, it was a genuine moment. It was a time where I stopped everything I was doing. If there was a Mets game on, if there's anything on, I watched those debuts. I remember specifically for when Vladimir Guerrero Jr. came up, I remember I was watching a hockey playoff game. I'm a big Islanders fan, so I was watching them in the playoffs back when they were good, which is unfortunately not the case now. I was watching them, and I turned off the game to watch Vladimir Guerrero Jr. take his first MLB at bat. That's how big his prospect debut was, and I remember it. I remember Jasson Dominguez being at that level. This is a guy who we heard about since he was maybe 15, 16 years old in the Dominican Republic, as, again, the Martian, as some crazy baseball prospect, some freak guy who's going to be the future of baseball. Now, we all knew he was going to sign with the Yankees for a long time. He grew up a big Yankees fan. The Yankees always get these type of huge prospects, and of course he did. And going through the minors, he lived up to every single expectation. He went up to the big leagues and did the same thing. So this guy's insane and is just so good. So just a little backstory on that. But yeah, going over last year with him, he of course came up with the Yankees towards the end and had a 162 weighted runs created plus. But it also wasn't like he didn't have any at bats with them. He played pretty good amount of time there. I mean, he had 37 plate appearances, so it wasn't like he didn't play at all. Of course, it wasn't a lot, but it still was, I'd say, enough to know that he was the real deal and he was great. So Dominguez really helped ignite that Yankees offense, especially in the outfield, was really struggling. And coming up this year now, he should help this team a lot. As much as the Yankees have done great, and they have maybe the greatest duo of all time in Aaron Judge and Juan Soto, the offense after that is a little spooky. I mean, you have Anthony Volpe, who's turned into a star right before our eyes, who's been great. But other than that, the offense has, again, been kind of with Anthony Rizzo and DJ LeMahieu really struggling, and Giancarlo Stanton also being a big hole in this lineup and with his contract as well. So the thing about Dominguez is I think he's really going to end up helping this Yankees team. The problem is I don't know where he's going to play, and I'm not exactly sure what his timetable is to play the field, because what we heard is he could potentially come back sooner if he just plays DH, because the Tommy John really mostly affects you in the outfield, not when he's batting. So that'll be a thing there. But looking at this Yankees outfield right now, you of course have Aaron Judge and Juan Soto, who are obviously not going to be moved. I mean, those are your guys. Alex Verdugo and Giancarlo Stanton, of course, are the two more iffy guys. So with Verdugo, of course, the Yankees acquired him in the offseason. They said they really wanted him for a number of years, which I do. I would say I'm not going to say they're lying about that, but I also think that if Dominguez wasn't hurt and he wasn't going to be out for this year, they would not have acquired him, and they would have just had Soto playing left. So I think that overall, it that was only a move they made because of Dominguez, and you would have just had Dominguez, Judge, Soto, and then Stanton. So that was something interesting. But with Dominguez, I think the Yankees' thought process was okay. We'll either trade for Dugo by the time Dominguez is back, or we'll just DFA him if he's not doing that well. But he's done really, really great for the Yankees. He's hit the ball well. He's played really good defense in that outfield, and he's also been a Yankee really well. One of the questions I had at the start of the Yankees offseason was, how were these moves going to play with the team? Now, I like the Marcus Stroman move. I like the Verdugo move, but Verdugo has had some former clash with Yankees fans. He used to be a Red Sox. And Marcus Stroman also, has had a certain history with the Yankees dating back to him fighting with them with social media and all that. So those were two interesting moves that I didn't really know how they were exactly going to work out. So to the Yankees' credit, though, they've worked out very, very well. And Verdugo's been a very valuable player to this team. So I don't think he's exactly someone that you're just going to let go, because I think he has done so well. Now, what I really want to talk about now is Stan. And Stan has simply become kind of a black hole for this team, and just such a negative asset at this point. You look at his stats, he's done well this year, but at the same time, I don't think it's well enough to have that contract be justified for him, and that defense, he just cannot play in the outfield. So that's another thing, and it's just he doesn't bring much value, and he's hurt a lot. And it's just kind of become an albatross for this team. And when you now have Dominguez coming up, Verdugo playing really well, you need a spot for him to play. And you either have to now trade or cut a very good player in Alex Verdugo, or cut or trade Giancarlo Stanton, who has one of the worst contracts in baseball right now. So it's a very interesting situation the Yankees find themselves in, and I'm really honestly excited to see what decision they make. I think that overall, Dominguez makes this team so much better. He gives them a true center fielder, which I don't think they've had. Judge is good in center field, but he's just a bigger kind of player who is more fit for the corners. And Dominguez, with him being the real just type of center field prototype, I think he fits there a lot better and does that job just way better. Moving him to center, Soto to left, Judge to right, and then you'd probably have Verdugo, Judge, and Soto split time at DH, and then Dominguez also be a DH until his arm is better. He can play outfield, but he helps the team with that. He helps with the bat as well. I think he's such a great hitter. He's really proved me wrong. I think that was the kind of thing I was worried about. I never worried about his base running, stealing bases, fielding, all that kind of stuff, but I always worried about his bat a little bit. I didn't know if he would really translate enough to the MLB, but he's done really well with that, and has been really such an impact player for this Yankees team. And I think he needs to get out there. I understand he's in AAA now. I don't know how much longer that's going to be, but definitely need him to play at this point. And if I'm the Yankees, I'm getting him in there whatever you can. At some point, you might have to just eat it on Stan. I just don't think his offensive ability and his durability is proving to be enough for his contract, and you might have to cut him at some point, or potentially put a top prospect in some team's face and say, hey, eat this contract, which would be interesting. And I don't know if we've ever seen anything like that before, but it would be interesting. And yeah, it's just a very intriguing decision right now for this Yankees team, seeing what they are going to do with Dominguez. I think that overall is something that really is going to determine the rest of this Yankees team. And just this outfield situation for them right now is very curious, and I'm very, very excited to watch. So yeah, that is our second segment here. We are talking about Jasson Dominguez and his impending return for the Yankees, and just what's going on with the Yankees outfield. We'll be moving into our third segment, which is going to be talking about the Padres and some trade rumors involving them. So yeah, we'll be talking about that, and we'll see you after the break. So thanks, and bye.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC